Yeah, so DJing and football don't necessarily sort of go well together, I guess, like schedule-wise and like what your body's capable of and stuff like that. Sometimes I'm flying back from Ibiza and I'm going to training. That's just kind of like the reality of the situation.
Put it back! Put it back! Yes!
So I first got into football when I was about 5 or 6, I think. You know when you're a kid and you pick teams, kids like line up against the wall. That's what I saw the boys do every break time. So one day I just went to line up against the wall and I didn't get picked last, which was a big confidence booster. A teacher came up to me and said, "Oh, Lucy, we've noticed you're playing football. We actually have a girls' team," which was unbelievably rare for that period of time. But he was like, "If you want to come and play, like, let me know." So I ended up playing a couple of games for them. I just remember being really small. To be honest, not much changed. So that technically was like the first team I was part of, was actually a girls' team. I always wanted to play it as a profession. And it never really occurred to me that you couldn't. Even though I didn't see any women on the TV, I was always like, oh, I'll just be like the first one. Naturally, I sort of fell away from it a little bit. Yeah, I stopped playing, and then I just kind of discovered music a little bit later on, and that kind of took my life over a little bit, and then returned to football probably about 10 years later, so it was a big gap. I remember like turning on Radio 1 one Friday, and like being like, what is this? I've never heard this kind of music before on the radio. And so I kind of got like fixated on that style of music. And the person I had heard first on it was actually Annie Mac, so when she used to do on a Friday night show. And I think hearing a woman's voice holding that slot, which is such a powerful slot, like the entryway to the weekend, for me felt like, oh, okay, like I can do, that's something I can do, that's an option, because it's already been done. I think when I first joined Radio 1, it was really surreal because I was still young and I felt still really at the start of like my journey, and they gave me a call and were like, do you want to do the residency slot for a month? And so I did that, and then they extended it, and then they extended it again. Throughout that period, I stayed a massive Arsenal fan and followed the Premier League every weekend, but I really missed like moving my body in a way that wasn't dancing. And so I decided to maybe try and do a little bit of five-a-side and see how I felt, and then do some 11-a-side and see how I felt and see kind of where it took me. I was about 24 years old, so I'd been at Radio 1 for 3 years, touring relentlessly. I think I had a very big slap in the face when I realised I hadn't played football in 10 years. So I joined Phoenix, AFC Phoenix, which then became Dulwich Hamlet. What is Dulwich Hamlet? What can you expect? People do call us the hipster club of South London, for sure. We definitely have a quirkiness about us. We definitely sort of very publicly like stand for certain things. It's the best club I've ever played for. It's a fan-owned club as well, which is quite rare. The Pepper Army, which are specifically the women's fans, are an absolute joy to play with. Like, I've never had an experience like it outside of maybe a gig. Music and football, they probably have like a lot of similarities that I love together. I think it's really communal. You feel like something sort of bigger than yourself, whether it be like a dressing room or like a crowd or whatever. There's this real like communal feeling, something that's I don't think you can replicate unless you're doing some sort of like activity with like a lot of people.